G'day, Heath here from pickandlessons.com. Soldier Joy, this is a fantastic traditional fiddle tune, popular session tune. This arrangement on the guitar, firstly, is beginner friendly, but also focusing in on that D position. So sometimes you might play this tune on the guitar, capo up at fret 2, playing out of C shapes there to put you in D. It's a pretty common way of going about it, but this method, we're going to approach it out of the D position. So essentially our melody falls around the D chord. We're not using a capo, and then of course we're going to be using the D major scale around that shape. In a moment, we're going to break down part A of this nice beginner-friendly version here in this video, but if you head over to pickandlessons.com, you can grab yourself a copy of the tablature. In the member section there, we will continue this lesson. We'll break down part B, working through the techniques, and you'll have play along and backing tracks there also once you get to know it. The other thing with this arrangement is in the beginner's crash course there at pickandlessons.com, so the flat picking crash course, there are several D arrangements of tunes in that position. So Angelina Baker, there's a version of Arkansas Traveler, and there's a few other ones in there around that D position. So it's a nice way of going about the tune. Like I said, a lot of the time you might see someone capo up at fret 2, which is great as well. So the main thing we're going to work on here in this position, beginning on part A, is centralizing our fingers around the D shape, although we're not going to hold the D chord that we would normally use. We're going to modify our position to not use that second finger on the first string. We're going to use our second finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and we're going to hold really the 3 notes there from the D chord, which is really the D 5th chord, so the power chord. And our melody is going to fall around that position. So just demonstrating the first couple of bars here. You can see that I'm holding that position and the melody falls right around those notes. So that's really important. So we've got our first finger there on that 2nd fret A, second finger there on the 3rd fret D, and we're going to be using our 3rd finger to bring in the B there on fret 4. So just to kick us off, there are some 8th note passages and a lot of quarter note passages. A reminder on the 8th notes, that's going to be down and up picking, down, up, for those first 2 pickup notes. And notice my hand position there. I'm keeping my 1st and 2nd fingers in that entire time. Then once I move into the 1st measure, we're going to get rid of that 3rd finger there. 1, 2, 3rd finger on the F sharp, on the 4th fret there on the D string. So 1, 2, open D, 3, back to the F sharp. Holding that position. Even though we're not using that 3rd fret there in the melody at that point in time, keep them on there. It'll make it much easier as you progress through. So we have that 1st finger there, 2nd finger there, 1st measure, 1, 2, 3, 4, all quarter notes, all downstrokes. 2nd measure, 1, 2, 3. There we go, our fingers are already in place for that. Makes it very straightforward. The pickup notes at the end of the 2nd measure are like how we began the tune. So that 3rd fret, 4th fret, keeping the fingers in place. Down up for the 8th notes. We're going to keep moving through because there's a bit of a repeat. So the 3rd measure, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're playing again that same melody before we move on to measure 4, which moves into the A chord. So let's just run through the first 3 bars with the pickup notes just to get our hand position and get the structure of this version of the melody. So we're simplifying it somewhat, again, nice and beginner friendly. So from those pickup notes, there's our hand position, 2, 3, 4, 1. Measure 4, there we are in measure 4. We're going to change our hand position. Notice in measure 4, the A chord is what's accompanying. So our D chord structure doesn't work for this melody. And we're going to move our fingers to cover this part of the melody. So that 1st finger, 2nd finger with a slide, open A. 1, 2, 3, all downstrokes. 1, 2, 3. Back into position. As we move through to the end, we're going to cover those 2 pickup notes again to move back into the D portion of the melody. We're going to get back into this shape. So 1, 2, 3, pick up notes, back into position. And there through measure 5 and 6, we do have a little repeat. We'll cover all this again in a moment. Let's just finish this off before the repeat though. So 2 pickup notes here. We're going to get out of position. The 2 8th notes there, down and up to the open E. We're going to move our fingers out of that D shape that we've been working from. And here we're working up on the 1st string. So we've got our scale here on the 1st string. I'm going to play 1, 2, and 3, first and second fingers. This whole thing is in the second position, by the way, meaning your first finger is always going to be in that first fret, never back on the first. So your first finger is always on the second fret there. So 1, 2, and 3, 4. Remember the picking. Down, down, up, down, down. Last bar before the repeat. 1, 2, and 3. Again, single string for the melody, so we don't have to worry about the chord for this little section. 1, 2, and 3. Pick up notes into the chord position to repeat. So that when we're playing the arpeggio portion of the melody, which follows that chord structure pretty well, that's when we're going to hold the chord, and it just works really great for this position. Let's have a run through just once. We do have to repeat this section. We're going to run through it once just to get familiar with it. Watch the right hand picking eighth notes down and up, quarter notes just downstrokes. Keep an eye on the fingering, which is in the tablature. Yeah, it's really important to get this fingering structure in this position. It will really help. Let's just run through it slowly. 2, 3, 4. Up notes, around we go again, and so on. Nice beginner friendly take of the melody, but also we are working out of that D position, so something perhaps is a little bit more challenging, but nice way of going about it. Pickinglessons.com. We're going to continue this lesson in the member section there for part B. You can just grab the tablature though, so pickinglessons.com. I'll see you there.